back on the mound. Judge cooling off a little bit. He's batting .400 there for a while. Still leading the league in average on base and slugging. He's second in home runs with 28. Ohtani has 27. 62 RBIs for Aaron Judge, 51 for Ohtani. Both teams are in first place. Nick, who is currently the best player in baseball? You go off the board.
Bro, you see 364, bro. You just don't see guys hitting over 300 as much anymore. That's just not the thing. It's more the slugging, the OPS, right? You know, the on-base percentage. But that man has everything that you're looking for right now. Now, maybe on the global front, Ohtani might have a little bit more on him, right? Coming from Japan. I mean, he has been an absolute unicorn for the game. You just don't see somebody jump on the scene like Ohtani has and sell jerseys the way he has. You also don't see somebody throw 100 miles an hour and be able to hit the ball 100 miles an hour as well. So I think the debate is fantastic. I think you're talking about the Michael Jordan, LeBron James. I think you're talking about two of the greatest players to ever play the game. My thing is, are we watching one of the greatest players ever in Aaron Judge? Are we watching that? Do we take that for granted? Because we're normally used to seeing him 50, 60 bombs. We just expect that from him. Yep. You just don't see players in today's game doing that, at least as consistency as Aaron has.
Well, look, I do think Aaron Judge is one of the greatest players like ever. I mean, I'm not going to get into rankings. Clearly a Hall of Fame, like one of the best sluggers ever. But Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT. The best of all time.
Here we go.
And we got to see how it plays out. But if he does this for another 10 years, and I don't think he'll pitch and hit for 10 more years, but say he does that for 5 more years and then continues to be a great hitter for the next 5 or so years, like, I think he could be the greatest player ever. It's simply, and I say this is how I feel about it, simply because he is doing both.
I agree.
And he is doing both, certainly hitting at a Hall of Fame level. Pitching, I won't go that far, but so far he's pitched at a legit #1 ace for a franchise.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I mean, you got to think of what he's also done for the next generation of player. Now that two-way player is a thing.
Okay, so I've asked other people about that, and most have shot it down and said no. But I've been like, look, a lot of times in high school, the best hitter is a great pitcher. You know, it's just a great athlete. So do you think we will start to see more guys do both?
I hope so. I mean, you want to see the best athletes in every sport.
Yeah.
And the fact that Shohei Ohtani showed up on the scene, by the way, if you've ever seen that man in person, bro, he is an absolute unit, dude. 6'5", 6'6", 230, 40 pounds. I mean, the guy is absolutely can do. He can run like the wind. He can hit the ball out of ballparks. You know what I would like to have seen? I would like to see what kind of an outfielder he would be. It would be amazing to see that man running around in center field. But at the end of the day, what we did notice last year was, for the first time in his career, he wasn't pitching. And what did he do? Something that no one else in the game has ever done. But on the other side, we've got an MVP candidate over there for the New York Yankees playing right field that has done things in the game that nobody else has done. So I think we're watching two of the best right now play. Whether you want to call them the GOATs or the BOATs or whatever it is, both of those guys are electric for the game of baseball, and we should be blessed to be watching them right now.
So there's no doubt, and I think the point you said at the beginning about Judge is something that you put a finer point on than I had been able to, but I totally agree. And as you were saying, it was like, that's the point I've been trying to make, which is obviously what Ohtani was doing when he was pitching full-time and hitting and doing both at he's the 8th best pitcher in baseball and the 2nd best hitter. Like that combination was Babe Ruthian unprecedented. But then he didn't pitch for a couple, he's just now starting to pitch again after the injury. And during that transition, Judge, for now a half season, has been demonstrably, in my opinion, the better player.
Yeah.
And
he's a better hitter.
Right, he's a better, and I know last year Shohei did the 50-50 thing, which was remarkable, but Judge had his own version of a historical season last year. Now, I know Judge hasn't done it in the postseason, and Ohtani didn't really do that much in the postseason last year himself, his first chance at it. But it felt to me, Nick, that because there was this once-in-a-lifetime thing happening with Shohei that I don't want to say we ignored what Judge did, because he's probably the face of baseball, but we weren't talking about Judge in these historical, hyperbolic terms that I think he has earned. And even this year, these slash lines are absolutely
impressive.
And I think, right now, and I was going into the year saying it's Bobby Witt. I think I have to say the best player in baseball is Aaron Judge until Shohei starts pitching again, because as a hitter, Judge, in my opinion, is better than him.
Yeah, well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if it talks about flat-out hitting, Aaron Judge, hands down. Games on the line in the ninth inning, who you putting up there? Aaron Judge or Shohei? I'm going to go with Aaron Judge. And I feel like a lot of other people would think that too. Maybe on the West Coast might be a little different, but definitely on the East Coast, they going with Big 9-9. It's been absolutely amazing to see the growth of what he's done because, fellas, when he first came up in 2016, he looks completely different than he does now.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a big leg, he had a bigger leg kick. He was really stiff, the whole nine. The one thing that I've noticed from being around him year after year, I mean, he's like my little big brother at this point. And just to see that the overall changes that he's had to make in his swings, because you got to remember, he ain't seeing fastballs down the middle, right? He's seeing Barry Bonds type pitching. With the Yankees lineup the way it is now, he's the red circle in the lineup. At least Ohtani has Mookie. He got Freddie. He got Will Smith. He got all these guys that are hitting behind him in a heavy clip. So if you're not pitching to Ohtani, the rest of the lineup is still going to do damage. If Aaron Judge is not hitting in the Yankee lineup sometimes, it looks like it could be struggling, as they're going through a little struggles right now.
How Nick alluded to it, how big of a deal is it? And I don't hold, like in baseball, I don't worry about the rings in terms of individual greatness, because you could hit 500 and just not have the pitching and not win.
100%.
But Judge hasn't been good in the playoffs. And last year, but just 7 years, he's hitting 205. You know, there's a serious drop. Shohei wasn't great last year either, but it's just 1 year. We only know, right.
And he was dealing with an injury.
Yeah, how, for Judge's legacy, does he have, I don't know that he has to win a ring. I know he's in New York, so you kind of do. But just to play better, hit better in the postseason like he does in the regular season, how big is that for him and his legacy?
I think it's huge. I think that's kind of the debate right now because there's nothing else to pick on him.
Right.
You can only pick on him for a certain amount of time that he's had, and that just might be the postseason. Now, listen, I struggled in the postseason as well. You get everybody's A stuff in the postseason. And like I said, he's that red circle that you don't want to beat you. Now, listen, has he struggled a little bit? For sure. But eventually he's going to get over that hump, just like Alex Rodriguez did in 2009 for us for the World Series. And after that, it's a moot point. You never hear about it anymore. And that's what Aaron's going to do. He's going to get himself in a situation because the Yankees are going to be pushing for the postseason each and every year. And one season, he's going to absolutely go off, just like he did over the 100 games last year, just like he did for the first 3 months of the season this year, and people aren't going to talk about this anymore.
August 2nd, Braves-Reds, Speedway Classic, Bristol Motor Speedway. This is just another in the latest line of games in what I'm calling like cool places.
Sure.
How excited are you for this game?
Bro, it's all over my chest right now. Of course, I'm juiced about it. I think this is absolutely amazing. I got to give Rob Manfred and his staff so much credit. Think about all the amazing places that he's taken Major League Baseball. Took it to Rickwood Field, took it to Field of Dreams, took it to the Little League World Series, and now we're going to a racetrack, bro. We're going to Bristol Motor Speedway, 100,000 seats. I mean, they could be setting records. So for someone like me, obviously, you can feel my excitement. You can feel my energy on how amazing this is. But like I said, Major League Baseball needs a lot of credit because what we're doing is we're expanding the game to not necessarily baseball fans. And that's how you gain new followers.
Well, and I think baseball, basketball, and hockey, and college basketball as well, are kind of learning that, man, as Americans get more attuned to like big events, like if it's Jake Paul, Mike Tyson might be the worst boxing match ever, but it felt like
it felt like a cool event.
It felt like something that was you mark your calendar for, and in these huge inventory sports where you have 80 games or 160 games, it's hard to have standout things. So that's what Rickwood Field, the things like that you mentioned. For this specific one, remember when the Final Four started going to football stadiums, or you know what I mean, for the Final Four, and people would talk about like the sight lines were weird.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That the depth perception, whatever it is. For a player in this game, what is it going to feel like playing in that type of venue? You know what I mean? With not just the number of people, but just the actual I guess, geography of where you're at and how it is, and how is that gonna affect them, or how would it feel as you as a player?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me is I'm jealous. I mean, the fact that I haven't had the opportunity to go play in these absolutely amazing places is upsetting to me. I'm like, yo, I want to come back. I can't do it at 45 anymore. But at the end of the day, I think it's absolutely amazing. Yes, maybe the sightlines might be a little different, and maybe some of the seats, Major League Baseball is going to do a tremendous job.
100,000 people they think could.
I mean, listen, you know, I know the ticket sales are absolutely on fire right now, so don't walk, go run and get your tickets right now. MLB.com/Speedway Classic, because at the end of the day, listen, this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I just spent the day with you know, my guy Ricky. I was with Michael Waltrip, and these guys are just saying, like, how amazing is this that these two huge entities, NASCAR and MLB, are coming together at one, and you have an iconic team like the Atlanta Braves, who in the Southeast rule the roost. And being able to have the Cincinnati Reds in Bristol, it's literally halfway between both areas. So I think in general, I think it's just amazing. Maybe the sightlines will be a different.
No, I wasn't even saying it like that. I just meant like the feel of it. Not basketball's different. It's a smaller court and the sightlines matter more. I just meant more like when you step into a batter's box and you see something
a little more depth.
Exactly.
I
see
agree.
something like that it will just almost the gravity of it will feel. Not like a playoff game necessarily, but it will feel different than a regular season
I think
game.
the vibe is going to be absolutely fantastic. I mean, they got Tim McGraw. You know, he's going to actually perform with Pitbull and Jake Owen before the thing in the same stadium they're playing the game. So I think there's just so many amazing things that are happening on the baseball front right now. Obviously, for us, we feel like baseball is king right now. Feel like a lot of great things are happening. We got the All-Star game happening here in the next couple weeks. So I just think there are a lot of amazing things happening. And this, taking it to Bristol, I mean, the sky is the limit now to where we can take baseball. And I think that's amazing. I think we should shoot for the moon, almost literally, to try and play a game, because now a lot of people are talking about our sport. And not everybody's talking about baseball all the time. But at this moment right now, with this sort of excitement, it's a lot of buzz going on.
We started the segment talking about Ohtani and Judge, obviously two like faces of the game. Who is a guy that you think deserves more attention? Budding superstars.
Oh,
you
bro,
know
hands down, I got the name for you.
Don't say Bobby Witt
The
Jr.
big dumper, bro.
Oh, okay.
Cal Riley, bro. No one even knows who he is.
No,
he's up there in the Northwest right now for the
32
Seattle
bombs.
Mariners. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that name, the big dumper,
So
bro.
how
Absolutely fantastic.
How all of a sudden, did you notice something in his, did he just get better all of a sudden? Why is all of a
He
sudden?
hit like 30 bombs last year, and he has 32, and it's not July.
Yeah, so what happened?
Hey, man, listen, maybe more pitches in the middle part of the plate. I'd really have to break down the analytics, right? I mean, maybe his miss rates are better. Maybe, you know, pitches in zone are better. Maybe his BABIP is better. There's a lot of different stats that you can look at to know. I can look that up for you and get it for you after the show, but I don't have that information
No, he's
on me right
crushing.
now.
It's like another home run.
I don't know if he's using one. What do you think about the torpedo bat?
Okay, well, so I got a lot of different thoughts about this, because torpedo bats have been around for the last couple years, but you heard nothing about it until the Yankees went absolutely off. And I don't mean to degrade that in a sense, but they were facing the Milwaukee Brewers at the time, which didn't have a whole lot of great pitching. Absolutely just blasted off to start the season. But I think if those torpedo bats were as good as everybody says they are, everybody would be using them. That's right. And that's not what's happening. The two best players in the game that we've been talking about this whole segment, Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, are not using torpedo bats.
The three best players, because Bobby's not using.
Yeah, Bobby's not using one either. I think there were some guys that started off with it, and then they went back to their regular bats. So.
July 15th, All-Star Game on Fox. August 2nd, Speedway Classic. Reds Braves on Fox.
You're the best.
Nick, always
Yes,
the
sir.
best.
You guys are so great, man. I'm so proud of y'all, man. So good to see you guys, man.
More first things first after the break. And get your tickets, too.
Yeah, that's right. MLB.com/Speedway Classic, baby. You know it.
Nick, I know that hurts your hand, too. Nick is like.
Good stuff, man.
What makes a carnival vacation fun? A little bit of everything.